YouTube comments from a video titled, How a 1/8 Acre Garden Feeds a Family of 6 All Year. Part 3.
Acre 2721 wrote,
Love the video. I grow sweet potatoes kumara for the leaves, which is a fabulous green vegetable. Use it instead of spinach, raw or cooked. Raw tomatoes are inflammatory, but cooked are anti-inflammatory. Try turning your capsicums into Italian capsicum paste, roast them, peel them, blend with garlic, olive oil, and seasoning blitz, then cook down. Delicious mixed with cream as a pasta sauce. Add to anything for superb flavor. Parsley makes a lovely green goddess dressing / dip butternut pumpkin marinara in Australia is seafood sauce, so very confusing. Thank you for sharing.
Keith Forprez wrote,
Amazing. I love it. That's incredible. 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 Amazing. I love it. That's incredible.
Muffin Top Tech wrote,
Rows are what you see all the time because the space between the rows allows farm implements to drive without crushing corn. Ideal for large-scale production, but not for home.
Lornage 3310 wrote,
I love videos like this, but most of it is just impossible where I live high desert Southwest. A 5-month growing season, blistering summers, freezing winters, hardly any water, hardly any pollinators, and bugs/rodents that can eat potato plants faster than they can grow.
The Tri-State Overland wrote,
What's this organic pesticide you use on tomatoes? We are in Ohio too, and this year didn't have many issues, but didn't do a ton of tomatoes, but planned next year.
Dylan Oliver 389 wrote,
Wow, this is awesome. I actually got 5 acres of land when I was working with an NGO in Ohio, and I'm planning to go back soon to build my tiny house and start my homestead. Most of the ladies I've met aren't really into that kind of life, so I'm just waiting for the right one who is. I've been watching him for a few months now, and he's been such an inspiration. Can't wait to start my journey soon.
Arnsteel 634 wrote,
I'm a KETO/carnivore diet person. But I love this innovation. It's so much healthier than what you will get from a corporation. I wish everyone would raise their own food. Beautiful work.
Forgensake wrote,
Bless you, industrious wife and mama. Thank you for encouraging others to jump off the industrial food slavery wagon. We can do this, Americans. Our grandparents did, and so can we.
Jibster wrote,
2129 multitasking is a myth is a common theme, but I think it's more nuanced. For me, the opposite is true. Single tasking is the real myth. Your analogy of a lot of everything all at once is exactly how my brain thrives. Trying to do just one thing is like telling a gamer to win by only watching their health bar. You miss the whole game, lose engagement, and ultimately fail. Great video. Lots to think about.
Yukoi wrote,
You can cram as much plants as you want with great compost. Soil is 1/3 of the work and water is their other 1/3. The last 1/3 is weather, but that's not much controllable unless you can afford a few hundred thousands building greenhouses.
Jetski Willy 7970 wrote,
I like it. But it's 1/8 of property to grow plus and 1/8 for tools plus, and 1/8 for storage plus 1/8 for processing. 2/8 should be indoors too. And she's barefoot.
At Hanky_Reboot wrote,
In South America, indigenous civilizations would grow different potatoes on different terraces in the mountains. Because some kinds like higher or lower elevation, higher or lower moisture levels, different soil nutrients. Agriculture science in action on a massive scale across ancient empires.
At the 828 VPS 8 wrote,
You say sweet potatoes are high maintenance, but here in southern Appalachia, I have not had that experience. I have had best results in raised beds, yes, but I hardly do anything to them except watering. I have my best success with Murasaki Japanese sweet potatoes, yellow flesh, purple skins. The purple Stokes didn't work as well. The Okinawa yams even less so. Maybe the sugar content is higher in the Murasaki tubers. They grow slips really quite easily starting late winter. Whenever I have planted them in the ground, I've gotten fewer tubers and had a harder time pulling them up.
At Renee Younk wrote,
Thank you for the information. I'll check out the More Than Farmers site as well. I've been wanting to do this, and since I live in a town, I'll have to have a small garden like you have. I've got a big stack of Mother Earth news going back to the 90s, and when I start gardening, I'll find help there too.
At Eric Joe Ada wrote,
There were 5 children plus parents in our family. We had a veggie garden that ALL the children we expected to work in. And we did. It provided all vegetables and fruit for the seasonal year. All organic. This was in the 1950s. You'd be lucky to get the children outside now, let alone work.
At Agu5425 wrote,
It is quite amazing for me as a city dweller that you know all these things. Is there a manual or how-to calendar that you can follow day by day that says something like today, October 1st, you should check on your winter pills or similar? To you app developers out there, why not make a farmer's almanac for the digital age, where you can input all your variables like temperature zone in or outdoor, balcony and cardinal direction, and what you want to grow, and for how many people, as well as how to preserve and store them for longest shelf life. All this info is what everybody needs, especially wannabe preppers.
At Aramisat wrote,
You never just need a big garden, just a lot of planning and labor and follow through for whatever size you do get. I am very envious of the asparagus, my very favorite homegrown vegetable, such a luxury but so doable. I was sorry not to see any garlic and hearth tips. And the square cages. I have not seen that before, so I will check them out.
At Mfiniz2948 wrote,
OMG. The house I grew up in had a sort of cool room. The room where my parents stored the potatoes simply on the floor on a big pile was colder than the rest of the house because the floor was lower.
At Elanciano767 wrote,
That's an awesome video, chock full of great ideas about gardening and food storage. I live in a condo and have a community garden plot, so what I can grow and store is limited, but I will nevertheless be using your advice to improve results. Thanks.
At JCW74801 wrote,
That is amazing. Do you not have deer, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and grasshoppers? I have 7 PO and T5 acres and cannot grow food. The wildlife do not share. Once everything has been eaten, the grasshoppers then eat the paint off the house, then the wood, and finally the window screens.
@DR 7943 wrote,
Utter respect is all I can say. A word to the citric acid comment. Commercial citric acid is actually derived from black mold. Yep, go look it up. Many people have problems with that, as when bits of it do get into our food, then it is actually a toxin.
At Edja 3353 wrote,
God bless this woman and her boy with amazing talent and determination. Thank you for a super inspirational video. You have no idea how much this means to me and probably a whole bunch of other people. Thank you.
At World Citizen, GJ8WR wrote,
That's a lie. They don't have dry season during summer. Come on, this is just a show off and not real. Also, you have got so much food growing, then why are you look like Sue anorexic?
At Cherneon 651 wrote,
Absolutely. Soil is first most important. Aged manure has been a game changer for us. We haul in truckload or two every year. I always revamp my dirt before planting.
At Miola 2048 wrote,
I don't know why, but it feels like a few weeks ago this big door opened itself to a whole new world for me. And I'm totally overwhelmed, but at the same time, I feel deeply in my heart somewhere and there is my path. Thank you so much for sharing all this amazing knowledge. I think I'm currently like a sponge, can't get enough of this world of farming/homesteading.
At Sabagull 3122 wrote,
This is your first video that I have watched today, and I am impressed by your gardening. I am a botanist and fond of growing vegetables and fruits, but due to lack of space, I grew these on a small scale in my home. I am from Pakistan, and I wish I could be there to do gardening with you.
At Megan Ewing C9C wrote,
This is very inspiring. I just cleared out a room in our basement for food storage. Hundreds of canning jars. I really want to master potatoes. Right now it's 12 bushels of pears and apples.
At David George 488 wrote,
I'm sure that you know this already, but in case you don't, if you roast radishes, they become sweet and delicious. They are no longer crisp and bitter. They will probably become a favorite and your kids will ask for them. My daughter did.
At TS 34675 wrote,
You have to shake your corn, as they say. It also reminds me of the Three Sisters method used by Native Americans. Corn provides a sturdy stalk for the beans to climb. Beans climb the corn and add nitrogen to the soil, which benefits all three plants. Squash grows large, sprawling leaves that cover the ground, acting as a natural mulch to keep the soil moist and prevent weeds. The prickly hairs on some squash varieties can also deter pests. I would also assume that the beans climbing the corn would provide extra support.
At Daoan Chang 3249 wrote,
Kids nowadays just go out and eat, totally clueless about saving money and growing their own vegetables at home, even if you have a full-time job 8 to 5. Love this video.
At Austin Whitfield 2108 wrote,
I was pleasantly surprised to see you and another favorite lady gardener farmer collaborating together in the same video. The two of you are my most favorite and go-to for anything I need to learn about everything from composting to growing my own vegetables. I'm a second-year gardener in urban KCMO, all organic 40 feet by 20 feet, and want to expand into microgreens and also have other great ideas. I owe much of my green thumb success to both of you. Thank you so much. I told you all.
Totem Clore 5080 wrote,
The house is really coming along. Your boys are growing up and seem so happy and healthy. Can't wait to see what you will do with the inside of the house and the landscaping around the house.
At Echo 5827 wrote,
What's wrong with just buying a few 50-pound bags of rice? Lasts forever, is dirt cheap, and is still mostly good for the earth and homesteady or whatever you're going for.
At user 77654 wrote,
Wow, that is cool. I wish I could have chickens. Look at how healthy they both look. No inflammation or fat, just lean muscle. They're not overweight and look very healthy. Imagine if everyone lived and ate unprocessed foods like that. How healthy the population would be.
A Jay Critchard song wrote,
I bet they save at least $7,000 a year by growing everything themselves and eat healthier, which also saves on medical costs. They also teach their children to eat healthy and be self-sustaining, instead of wasting huge amounts of money, unhealthy junk food and unhealthy ultra-processed foods.
At Carrie Alfaro 9437 wrote,
On 1/8 of an acre, this is fabulous, wow. I wish I live in an apartment on a college campus, damn. Nearby Lehigh University and Moravian College in downtown historic Bethlehem, PA. And I'm getting ready to, for next year, clean off the side of the building that has nothing but older rotted wood that is harvesting caterpillars and all kinds of nastiness and get rid of it. And I'm going to use the corners for gardens, because as long as I take care of it, it's all good.
At JK7263 wrote,
As a part of a charity that grows lots of vegetables for a food pantry, we started giving to other food pantries because director said herbs don't feed their bellies. From 5 city lots are able to give 5,000 pounds of food and 60 pounds of honey. Plus give eggs.
Israel2 wrote,
How are they able to do all that? Work 14 hours a day. It looks like they are efficient and the 6 kids help out. We had 8 kids in the family and everybody has a job.
At Sam Briggs 37 wrote,
You really inspired me to start my own garden. I've been on this journey of cleansing and growth. I'm on day 10 of my fast, and the mental clarity is unreal. My brand Uplift 3D is all about that elevation, mind, body, and spirit. Seeing your garden reminded me how powerful it is to stay grounded while you grow.
At Martha Thompson 2012 wrote,
The entire reason why we have the school year set up with the summer off is because of exactly what you say here about split focus. The garden farm season was too overwhelming and is adequately educational. There's no need for books. Do that when you're shut up inside because it's foul weather.
At Eric Blair 3009 wrote,
Great video. Sweet potato leaf spines are great to eat raw or fried. Radish leaves and pods are great if they make it into the salad. I like the leaves and pods better than the root. This episode has been such a bonus. I had not seen either channel before today.
At Spaceman AUS wrote,
Amazing work. I have tried to grow my own food with little success. I get some produce, but nothing like you have done. But I have learned a lot from your video and hope to do better. Thanks for the inspiration and the information you have shared.
Terra Antiqua wrote,
Really nice video, thank you much for sharing. Regarding tomato plants and keeping soil from splashing up during rains, you might want to plant elfin thyme around your plants. Elfin thyme, Thymus serpillum elfin, grows very low. It's a ground cover plant helping soil to retain moisture. It's edible and it smells real nice. It can handle feet walking over them. This would definitely keep most splashback from getting on your tomatoes. I ain't no farmer, but from what I remember reading about such things, plants like thyme, sage and lavender also help to keep certain bugs from other plants. In Europe, organic orchards have lavender planted around their fruit tree trunks so bugs don't crawl up them. Something about their smell. Elfin thyme might do the same for your tomatoes.
At Francesca Livery 1182 wrote,
I'm looking for land in TN,
Not far from Nashville, of 5 to 10 acres with 2 building sites on it already perked for this, plus at least electricity at the road. I don't want to pay a fortune though. No restrictions, cause I want chickens, and I want a garden like the lady from Ohio. Great video, by the way. I used to help my mom and my grandma can everything from the garden, and my grandpa had a smoke house where he smoked meat. It was a shed-like building. I'm looking forward to getting back to that kind of living. I live in a city now. Thank you.
At Andre Savard 8784 wrote,
Congratulations. Inspiring. I am surprised that this lady did not plant beans amongst its corn, as in the Three Sisters method. In indigenous North American agriculture, the Three Sisters are corn, beans, and squash, a traditional companion planting system used by various Native American groups.
At Ben Graham 5699 wrote,
27:30 Why store potatoes and onions separately? Grok, potatoes, and onions are both root vegetables that last for months when stored properly, but keeping them together causes them to spoil much faster. Here's the simple science and practical advice. The main reason: ethylene gas. Onions produce ethylene. This natural gas speeds up ripening and sprouting in nearby produce. Potatoes are super sensitive. Exposure to ethylene makes potatoes sprout prematurely, turn green due to solanine buildup, which tastes bitter and can be toxic, and rot quicker. Result: a bag of mixed potatoes and onions can go bad in weeks instead of months.
Adobe for Life wrote,
Hey, love this collaboration. Question for you. Do you ever have any issues with your mason jars breaking in the freezer? I've heard wide mouth are better if you're going to use them because they have less shoulders. You follow?
At Hugjo Elcock 7244 wrote,
Wow, I learned a lot from the single videos. Potatoes stored right next to onions equals not good. I always wondered why my potatoes would sprout or rot when I'd seen people storing them for a year on homesteading videos. Now I know. Thanks for all the tips. Subbed to both channels. Aloha from Hawaii.
At Amorton 94 wrote,
I would love to learn how to have a large, successful garden. I dream of killing off the grass lawn in my backyard in favor of a large garden. It's hard for me to find any success with the 2-4x4 raised gardens that we have. The planning also overwhelms me. There's just so much to a garden.
At Plasma Storm 73 wrote,
Me, I love radishes. I grow them on my balcony in a planter box along with my kitchen herbs like dill, oregano, basil, chives, spring onions, etc. I even have some lettuce out there.
At Natalietta Garden 2398 wrote,
Kids don't like radishes. I was at a restaurant that did a divine veggie dish that I asked about and learned it had cooked radishes in it. Totally different taste and texture. The recipe is butter braised radishes, kohlrabi and Brussels sprouts originally from the book Ad Hoc at Home. You may change their mind. It's fabulous.
At A More Holistic Life wrote,
Wow, I would love to have a do-over with all of my gardening areas. I've allowed a lot of weeds. How do I start over with the ground? I will chop down all the weeds. Should I lay cardboard and compost? What else should I do? In KY.
At Boyd Gilbreth wrote,
I love radishes. Wash, trim, and slice thin. Lay flat on plate and add whatever condiments you wish that day. I like soy sauce or vinegar or both, in addition to dry spices sparingly. The radish flavor and crunch should always be at the forefront.
At _you_wrote,
I spend so much money on fertilizers, pesticides, and insecticides that sometimes I don't even know if it's even worth it. But at least it tastes better than bought vegetables. And with climate changing, growing food become harder and harder with every year, like last 2 years I had no fruits on my trees because of sudden freezing, whether in late spring.
At Helen X7 wrote,
I'm personally not a fan of beans, they give me digestive issues, but they are an excellent animal feed, meaning you can have beans stored as a crisis food, both for humans and animals.
Tiffy Trees wrote,
I did not think sweet potatoes were hard to grow. IDK if I got lucky or the climate is good, but I had one sprouting one day and shoved it into my potato box planter. It is a mix of dirt and Kellogg organic soil, the compressed block with the white and black stripes, and literally neglected them all year. I have done this for about 4 years now. In fairness, the purple ones died, but I think it was pest pressure. I have not tried again. I shoved the whole thing in the dirt. Now, maybe this is a yam versus sweet potato IDK, but I'm talking about yams, so maybe that is the difference. Does anyone else do this? I am too lazy to do slips, and I do not see the point.
At Mary Josie Samaju 9799 wrote,
Wow, I like your garden and the efforts you have put into it. This is something I like to do. I want to learn how you do to keep or preserve your own food. Can you make videos for each product, please? We want to learn how to keep it for long.
At Agenarian 2418 wrote,
I have a lot of acres, but it is severe desert. I can't grow a lot because the sun and heat kills it. Still, your inspirational thanks for sharing.
At Jared Holloman 5300 wrote,
How are you able to minimize the amount of reduction caused by rodents and animals? Looking at doing this, but have the big fear of losing most of the crap because of animals.
At Mr. Magyar 5 wrote,
This is accurate. Plants don't really need as much room as you think they do. What they need is good soil, sunlight, water, and a good hand for pest control. They can produce an enormous amount of food in a small area. People are under the impression you need loads of land because farmers who use that land grow things that get shipped all over the world. They are growing crops for hundreds of thousands of people. Not 6. My parents have a 45-acre farm for growing food, but the total land used, you said to grow food, is less than 1/2 of 1 acre. In that 1/2 of an acre, they grow enough food to feed their family, my brother and sister's family, our extended family, 2 aunts, and a few families from our church. They can produce in one crop 60 to 80-gallon freezer bags of corn. A gallon freezer bag full of corn will fill 6 to 8 cans or more. You would need to eat a can of corn every day for a year to eat all that corn. People don't eat corn every day. You usually eat a few cans a week or every 2 weeks. They then grow enough black-eyed peas, butter beans, tomatoes, etc. You get the idea to can and store and make sauces, etc. for easily a whole year. All of it from 1/2 of an acre of total land area for 30 to 50 people. Easy. It's not that hard. The plants do most of the work. The hardest part is planning out the crop rotation, making sure you have excellent soil through composting, planting, and harvesting. And if you plan on feeding that many people, you have them bring their family over and work to gather the food. Another thing about corn is that corn is really bad for the nitrogen in your soil. It sucks up all the nitrogen. You need to have a way to put nitrogen back in the soil, and it's recommended that you plant corn in different locations every year to give the soil a rest from how intense the corn is on nitrogen. Chicken poop tilled into the soil is a great way to replenish nitrogen, and certain bean crops, when picked and plowed back into the soil, are great ways to replenish nitrogen.
At What If Physicisating wrote,
I absolutely love her gardening method. I deeply admire her attention to detail. Her hard work has clearly paid off in a thriving garden. It's what I've been working towards for the past 3 years, and it's inspiring to see her achieve it. Harvesting all at once instead of always worrying. Bravo!
A Shifting Kill wrote,
I like the barefoot gardening relaxed style, but I just found a big old decking screw and some sand and a berm in the garden today, so why risk it?
A Jeremy Wilshire wrote,
2918, I like thinking in squares. Linux units 0%. FT skirt 1300 squared, fee 36 Linux units 0%. FT skirt 1/8 acre FD74 noise.
At Big Dogma 8456 wrote,
This is a great video, and I hope helps others to try it. We do this as well, and it's so rewarding and healthy too. I learned years ago about not storing potatoes with onions from MT Aunt. She never wasted food and taught me so much. Keep growing all and stay stocked. Side note, the beef tallow is great for fries. McDonald's said to fry in it long ago.
A Steve 9W7T wrote,
I totally agree about soaking the beans. The ancient Indian science called Ayurveda also says to soak the beans for at least 8 hours. After the 7th hour, the phytic acid comes out in the water. Phytic acid is the one which causes gas, and it also reduces the absorption of minerals like iron, zinc, and calcium. After soaking, the beans also get cooked much faster. The same principle of soaking applies to almonds, walnuts, mangoes, etc. Soaking mangoes takes out the heat from the mango, so you won't get pimples.
A Karen Redburn wrote,
I love this concept. However, I live on slightly more than 1/8 of an acre, but that includes the land where my house is, which throws afternoon shade on the bigger space, and my southern neighbor's tree now blocks twice what it did when we bought the property. My eastern neighbor put up a 6 solid fence where there had been a 3 chain link. In both of these cases, the light has changed a lot, and my neighbor to the north feeds the squirrels so they never leave and forage in my garden. Owning land isn't just about what you can grow in that size, but how much space you have that's within your control.
A Rod G8NC wrote,
Amazing to see such a beautiful way of life. Very inspiring. I did tried it for 3 years, but I couldn't keep up alone. Props to those who are able to find a good partner and experience the beauty of community.
At Therese Kirkpatrick 3337 wrote,
I'm so excited I was able to move to almost an acre. But it has a floodplain through the middle of the backyard. Fencing off what I can because we have all the wildlife. Small and large that'll eat everything. Northern Arizona caught the replay. Love both of your channels.
At Lorenza Coleman 6164 wrote,
Such a Wonder Woman, a farmer and homeschooling mother. Amazing. I would like to know what to add to preserve tomatoes and peaches to last long months. Do you add some preservative like lecithin or citric acid? And do you just shake off the herbs before placing them on the screen shelves? Do you just brush the potatoes before placing them on the metal racks to cure before transferring them into baskets? Thank you.
At MS Polite Rants wrote,
Love all these tips, but it is a tad misleading to say they grow all their food on 1/8 of an acre. They're not growing beef cattle on that 1/8. Those cows alone need more space. Plus they are buying some things like rice. I get it. You gotta get people to click on the video.
At Valdal98 wrote,
I'd love to do this at my house, but I'm on the southeast coast where heat and humidity reigns. I also have no place to store veggies long term.
At Mary Rose Purple 1 wrote,
An important factor here
is that you are in Ohio, where the soil will grow what you plant. My property is big enough, but is in the Piedmont Basin in North Carolina. I don't have soil. I have sand, gravel, and clay. I can't afford anything that's needed to amend the soil or get large containers along with the massive amount of good dirt needed to fill them. Still, I try again every year. This year I didn't get enough for even 2 days. Maybe next year will be better.
At Kelly Name 5733 wrote,
If I have an extended power outage, you won't be seeing me for a week as I will be putting everything in my freezers in a jar. Yeah, I'll be canning my little heart out. Only breaking for sleep. I'll be damned if I'm gonna lose one thing in my freezers, lol.
At Lewis Emery wrote,
Right off the bat, one has to prevent animals' insects up to a point too from stealing your food. So you have to stay up all day and all night sitting on a lawn chair shooing off animals. 30-year part-time gardener with full-time job.
At Gene Harold 8169 wrote,
There's something so great about living off of the earth, being free, and homeschooling your kids. The norm today is being obsessed about what other people think about you and being bombarded with them imposing their beliefs on you.
At Imagood Listener wrote,
I fell in love with what you guys do and I have decided I'm going to have a homestead as well. Thank you so much, and I'm sure you'll see me around your guys' channels very often from now on. 3.
At Daniel Goodman 3578 wrote,
This gives me hope that I could achieve self-sufficiency on all but meat if I just have a house with a big enough backyard. Now if I get married and have kids, then it'd make sense to have at least 1/4 acre in the back so we could do the crops and the kids could play. But still, your initial point, small land, still useful. Thank you very much.
Pertiminow wrote,
Corn produces better when planted in clumps, not rows. Grow things like cucumbers, Etsy, vertically on steel mesh. Saves room. I never knew that about onions and potatoes. Love her work.
At Leland wrote,
Do you deal with gophers/moles at all? I've lost so much not food this past summer in my garden due to gopher damage. Everything is in gopher baskets. They're now seemingly coming out of the holes and diving back down inside the basket. If I try to grow any root veggies, I'm just gonna be feeding/fattening families of gophers/voles/moles. I'm envious. I've resorted to raised beds inside my greenhouse.
At Loriabella 3568 wrote,
Impressive. I'd really like to know how they feed the soil to get such abundant harvests. If she has posted about this, could someone point me in the right direction?
A Canadians wrote,
I really enjoyed this episode. I learned a lot with so many tips. At the end of the day, my favorite part of this episode was how the lady sticks to her guns and lives by homeschooling and gardening. Don't mix, and that she refuses to mix them. How beautiful, not to mention that the best schooling of all is in the garden.
At Margaret Brooks No 2JS wrote,
When I was a kid in the 80s, school didn't start until early or mid-September. My mom explained that it was because a lot of the families around us were still harvesting. I didn't understand until I went to my great-aunt's farm. I saw all the work my cousins had to do. I was taught then what agriculture was and respectful of the hard work involved.
At Moral Community Baptist Church wrote,
As someone who lives in Wyoming, saying you can grow enough potatoes in that tiny spot for a family of 6 is ridiculous to me. After over 20 years of trying to enrich a space 3 times that size, we barely get a bucket full for the 2 of us.
Phase 101 wrote,
For her partner's heartburn, the issue isn't citric acid, it's actually not enough acid. The valve isn't closing because the pH is too high, not too low. Tell her to tell her hubby that he should take 0 Po in T 5 ounces of apple cider vinegar, pH 2 Po in T1 equal to stomach acid. Can raise the pH a bit with some water if he likes 3 to 4 ounces. Since it's a strong acid, it won't lose too much pH too quickly. Remember high school chemistry. Anyway, that valve signals to close at a biomechanical level at low acidic pHs. So his stomach pH just simply isn't high enough. My thoughts are he has a B1 deficiency. If he is taking antacids, those are making it worse. And they will even be compromising his immune system. Get him some B1. Lots.
Ed Ordo Solteto wrote,
Hello, a question. How much time a day do you need to dedicate at your garden exclusively? Imagine a single person work asking because I live alone and have some space for gardening around my house. Thanks in advance.
At Gianegicid 8756 wrote,
I've been doing my own garden for a number of years, but I still found a lot of interesting suggestions to apply for better results. Job well done.
At Eusinophodingus wrote,
We'll say I have a bias for Jackery, but I love the ads so much. I legit have not thought once in the past year while learning to garden, what if the power goes out? Thankfully, I have a smaller Jackery, but that is 10,000% a needed garden upgrade I'll need to get for next year.
At Cole Roberts 6147 wrote,
I grew up in southern Idaho. Rivers and irrigation canals and ditches everywhere. And on the banks of those running waters, there was invariably asparagus, escaped and gone wild. Long before I liked the stuff, my mom had me cutting it and bringing it home to her. Or giving it to train tramps down by the river. Thick stalks were actually more tender than the thin ones. Eastern Washington also has asparagus growing on the banks of the Snake and Columbia and Yakima rivers and attendant sloughs. I cut a couple of 100 pounds one summer in the Tricities, and cutting keeps it coming back up for quite a while.
At Growing Veggies wrote,
Easy consistent root cellar option. Use a chest freezer, but buy an adapter from the homebrew supply store to keep the chest freezer at fridge temps, like 34F. It maintains the humidity unlike a regular fridge that circulates the air and dries everything out. So I can put in crates of veggies without wrapping them, and they hold their moisture. It is now orked, and I still have some cabbages and rutabagas from last year, as well as the crates of this year's peppers I'm currently processing. It will soon get filled up with this year's carrots, cabbage, rutabaga, beets, etc. for long-term storage. Shorter term, kale and chard will hold for weeks in there too, but they do need to be in bags. This chest fridge has been the biggest help for us, so I'm sharing in hopes it might help others too. Loved the video, thanks for making it.
A Freak Hoekstra wrote,
If you want to cool the cold room even more, consider putting a heat pump boiler in there. It will suck the heat out of the room and can act as a dehumidifier as well, plus saving you the money of a normal gas boiler.
At Kayun 8327 wrote,
Try to cook baby pepper leaves. Steam or stir on a sauté pan with sesame oil, salt and chipita crushed, garlic or chopped green onions. Crushed sesame added would be nice. Korean way. We do boil the leaves in hot water in a short time, like 10 seconds. Leaves become soft and squeeze the water out, then try the garlics and etc. Soy sauce or Korean fermented jangs would be the substitute of salt. Plus, crushed sesame plus salt plus sesame oil would be great combination for cooked mutney kinds, dipping.
At Mr. Don H.U. wrote,
Awesome. I want to do the same in the near future.
One advice, fun canning, use the same jars for everything. That way you can organize the shelves to be more efficient with space. With that space you currently have, you can basically double the jars you can store on the shelves if those are the same size, especially the LMT.
At Zoe Coke 4185 wrote,
Watching this video was like watching two soul sisters meet for the first time, like yin and yang. They look like sisters, and both have a passion for gardening. Love this collab.
At Jacob_Stephen wrote,
Modern women always ask, what do men want? This. Men want a woman that can grow our entire food for the year, fully organic, in the backyard. Well,
At John Smith _9WV wrote,
That garden looks wonderful. The allotment gardens in the UK are very much smaller than your parcel. They range from 5 to 20 rod. A rod is 5.5 yards or 16.5 feet, taken from the length of a plow and an oxen. Old English measurement. My old chap had 10 rod and fed my 3 sisters and us. That's 6 people. The meat came from Dad's good friend, who lived in a village deep in the countryside, that had a good supply of wildfowl, rabbit, and the occasional hare. This time period was from the end of the war through to the end of the 50s. Perusing through the YT vloggers, one stood out for me on American freedoms, which we in the UK are so unlucky not to have. A lady who now lives here was berating the lack of freedom brought about by the local councils who have the power to make you trim lawns and dictate what one can or cannot do. Read the back garden. Yard. In parlance of your own property, there are of course some things that would annoy the neighbors. Keeping pigs would be a no-no, or perhaps a noisy cockerel. The obvious thing in straitened circumstances would be to turn the backyard into a fruitful place full of good things to eat. Would the local greengrocer complain?
At Walter Bez wrote,
I've been storing my onions away from my potatoes for a while now. Found this out a couple of months ago, but I have a problem with fungus on the onions. They tend to get mold on them sometimes, and you don't see the mold forming if you don't skin them a little more. Last batch, I just skinned them enough again so the mold is gone, and then washed the onions in a water and vinegar solution. So how do you keep onions, and how do you keep them from growing mold again?
At Vladimir Juranic 5621 wrote,
I just want to say, are you adopting elderly kids? Please have me. Seriously, I want to be adopted by you. I have never seen a better organized life in general. What a treasure of simple ideas. Gotta start living my life more meaningfully. Thank you so much.
At Ginger Naterno 5365 wrote,
Radish chips are the best. You have to watch them so they don't burn, but I hate raw radishes. Roasted radishes with garlic are also really, really good.
At ECRD9YS wrote,
How many hours per week do you spend on the garden? How many hours is it to preserve everything? I have 3 kids under 5, and I would like to garden, but after failing so many times, I think I'm not setting aside enough time for it. I appreciate you going into how you make it realistic for you. That's what I'm struggling with the most.
At Gracie Rose 3076 wrote,
We have 2 acres. Nothing grows. I mean nothing. I have never lived someplace where nothing grows. We moved to North Carolina and have too many trees, and my husband loves the trees. I miss the prairie where anything grows. It is like you can throw anything in that black, rich soil. I miss canning and freezing.